Hi, I'm Bob Hall, Editorial Director of Cygnus Graphics Media. I'm here today with David Fellman, who is President of David Fellman and Associates. He is a noted sales trainer and sales consultant. David, welcome.
Thank you very much.
I'm glad to have you here.
And I'm pleased to be with you.
Good. Listen, what should a digital quick printer or a small commercial printer be looking for in a salesperson?
Interesting question. Probably one I could answer in two ways.
All right.
On one level, I've been saying for years that what I look for in a candidate for a sales position is intelligence, a competitive nature, and an appreciation of the finer things in life.
Well, that sounds good.
The intelligence part, I think, is pretty straightforward.
Sure.
Smart people learn faster than not so smart people, and there's a lot to learn here. Specifically in terms of printing sales, there's a whole lot of product knowledge to learn. And there may also be, depending on the age, experience of the candidate, there may also be a lot of selling knowledge to learn too. So we're looking for somebody who's smart enough to do that quickly.
Okay.
A competitive nature. I have a predisposition, a prejudice, towards people who have played competitive sports.
Okay.
Because I'm usually pretty sure that they learned what I've learned in 50-something years of athletics. You know this, that I like to refer to myself as an aging jock. When my wife is in the room, she says, "Aged, dear, you're way past aging." But when I was playing competitive sports, as I've played competitive sports, I learned how to lose. And that's not to say that I learned to enjoy losing. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I learned the proper way to lose, and that's to dust yourself off, give some thought to why you didn't win, work on your skills, work on the skills that are required to win it, and then go looking for another opportunity to compete. There's a lot of failure in sales. But you get up, you do it again. And then the appreciation of the finer things in life. There's a misconception, there's a very common misconception among business owners and sales managers, especially in small business America, especially in the printing industry. They think that a salesperson should be motivated by money, but that's not really the way it works. What we really want is people who are motivated by what they can do with the money.
Okay.
So we want people who want to go to Paris on vacation, not, with all due respect, Charleston, West Virginia.
All right. Well, I have that preference myself.
You'd believe.
But I have a house in Charleston.
Now, looking at it from a different perspective, you should be looking for somebody who has significant ego drive. Ego drive defined as the sort of need to be convincing, the need to win, the drive to win. And that needs to be coupled with ego strength, which is the resilience, the ability to come back from defeat. I think we want some empathy, the ability to put yourself in another person's shoes and understand what their issues are.
Yeah.
We want some assertiveness. We want some aggressiveness. We want some energy. We want to know that the individual has the right sort of foundation, the right sort of psychological foundation, not just to be successful at selling, but to enjoy it and to be able to live with it, with the small number of wins and the large number of losses and failures.
Well, how do you know if a candidate for a sales position or an existing salesperson really has those characteristics or qualities?
Well, let's consider that you're in the hiring stage.
All right.
In the interview stage, you pose questions that are sort of based around the characteristics that you're looking for.
All right. Do you have an example?
Well, yeah. I'm looking for somebody who's intelligent.
Okay.
Prove it to me. Give me some evidence that shows that you're a bright person. And I'm hoping that I don't get an answer about, well, I have advanced degrees in nuclear physics and various other fields. I'm hoping that the salesperson is quick enough on his or her feet, the candidate is quick enough on his or her feet, to think and say, well, I've always been one to learn quickly. Let me give you an example of that. I'm a very strong believer in the idea of selling by storytelling. And let's consider that when you're in a job interview situation, that's a sales call because you're trying to sell yourself into the job. So the interview process is part of that. You know, again, I would say I'm looking for somebody who has plenty of ego drive. And then I'd say, do you know what that means?
All right.
If I wasn't satisfied with the answer, I would provide my definition, and then I would say, all right, convince me that you have this characteristic. Once we get past the interview stage, I am a very strong believer in testing. And I've written and spoken about the caliper profile many times before. I've been using caliper for going on 25 years now. It is a significant psychological study.
Okay.
It's not the, I'm not going to say the Heimlich maneuver. What's the one that I'm thinking of?
Oh, I know what you mean. I hope I just ran across
the Wonderlic test.
Wonderlic test. Yeah.
Wonderlic has its place in testing for basic intelligence. But this is not Wonderlic, and this is not one of the 20 question sales suitability profiles you can buy online for $14.95. This is 150 questions. This takes most people 90 to 120 minutes to complete. Costs $295.
Okay.
But it is uncanny in how good a look it gives you underneath the hood of the person that you're talking to. I've said for years that there's nobody who is more dangerous to you in the interview stage than somebody who can talk the talk, but either cannot or will not walk the walk. Caliper can give you sort of a 6-month head start, you know.
Finding out how this person is going to evolve and develop.
Exactly right. Yeah. And you'll laugh at this. I've had some arguments with clients over the years about taking the time and spending the money to do the caliper profile. They don't want to do it. They want to go just based on my instincts. And my instincts are good, but they're not perfect. I've been fooled before. I've gotten into the habit of saving the caliper reports, and when caliper results in a hire, 6 months later, I send the PDF, I resend the PDF of the caliper report to the owner, to the printer, and I say, all right, you've known this person for 6 months now, read this over again.
How close is it? Yeah.
And the answer is usually something like voodoo, you know, uncanny, truly, this is. And I don't care how good a job you do in the interview stage, you're not going to know somebody at the end of the interview stage as well as you would having them work for you for 6 months.
Sure.
I simply would not approach hiring a salesperson without testing them. And if I wasn't completely satisfied with the performance of the current salesperson, I think it's worth the investment to test them, because it'll tell you specifically what's missing.
Okay.
And once you know that, you can start working on
correcting,
remedial plan.
Remedial plans, yeah. Well, you know, most of the people in the quick and small commercial area are small business people and owners who are involved in selling. How do you work with an owner who doesn't like to sell, doesn't want to sell, won't go out and sell?
Yeah, most of the owners I work with are reluctant salespeople, to say the least. I push them out, try and shame them out. But I also try and simplify, demystify the whole selling process, because I'm a big believer in selling process. And I'm really a believer in the numbers game too. And it really is as simple as put some number of people on your list every week.
Right.
Send them an introductory letter or an introductory email that basically says, I'm going to call you to ask you for an appointment. Call them up, ask them for an appointment. Have a plan for what you'll say if the person says, I'm really busy right now. Have a plan for what you'll say if the person says, I don't need anything right now, I'm happy with my current printer. Any of a number of predictable objections. Have a plan for what you say when you get connected to voicemail.
Okay.
Start the ball rolling with some number of people every week. Keep the ball rolling, and then don't worry too much if they don't cooperate.
Okay.
Because selling is ultimately a numbers game. And if I can get an owner to start enough balls rolling every week, they'll
something's going to
happen. Something's going to stick. And it's interesting that most of the people I work with who work with me, who decide they're going to work with me, who really commit to this, they find it's not nearly as bad as they thought it might be. But I also got to tell you this, as I tell every selling owner, every owner
Right.
who calls me to talk about engaging me as their coach, I tell them that at least a third of the owners fire me within the first 3 or 4 weeks because they get tired of me nagging them to do what they're paying me to nag them
To do.
Yeah. It's a little different with salespeople because I can push them around a little bit
Yeah.
earlier. I'm sort of in there.
Yeah, but the owner is the top dog here.
Yeah, ultimately it's a lead them to water, but you can't make them
Right.
drink situation.
Okay, great.
I really think, though, that even without any sales personality, sales talent, sales inclination, owners can be effective salespeople because they know their business.
Well, yeah, they're past that first hurdle of knowing the product. Yeah.
And they have some engagement, some investment in the whole situation.
Does it get easier for them as they do
yeah.
it more and more?
Oh,
Yeah. So it's,
it gets easier once you learn you're not going to die for making sales calls. It gets much easier once you learn that you don't have to succeed with everybody, that you don't have to hit home runs every day. It gets easier when you realize that it is a process and that you can be reasonably good at this.
well, great. Well, Dave, I thank you very much. I certainly enjoyed conversing with you on what it takes to make a good salesperson and what you do with an owner who doesn't want to go out and sell. So I really
Okay.
appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Always fun.